Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org.
This week on Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke, guest Ralph Cortese, founding broadcaster and executive producer of Stroke Warrior Radio, shares his story entitled Limitless. He has pushed past limits his whole life and now does so throughout the recovery process. Thank you for joining us for part 1, Ralph Cortese's story. Hello and welcome to Beyond Stillness. Stroke offers a powerful, life-changing shift in perspective. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. This radio show, Beyond Stillness, offers an hour of pause for storytelling and reflection. Ultimately, Beyond Stillness is a welcoming environment that reveres the moment beyond stroke's paralysis. Still moments unite humanity and divinity. I'm your host, Molly Bucola. Today's guest is Ralph Cortese. Ralph is a stroke survivor, a stroke warrior, and the founder, director, and producer of Stroke Warrior Radio, the internet cloud-based station that offers education, motivation, and support for new and old stroke survivors. Today's theme is Limitless. So now we hold space for the time that we've pushed past our own limitations. At this moment, think of ways you've done this throughout your own life. Maybe call to mind the people who have challenged and supported you in your own journey. Today, we hold space for their generosity, encouragement, and inspiration. Today, we hold space for ways Ralph and all of us have pushed past the limits to be and become our inspired selves.
On October 24th, 2015, it took a team of 4 to shuffle, swivel, lift, roll, and prop my body against my hospital bed. The first time I stood up after my stroke. A physical therapist, the first of many, presented me with a walker. I was so upset and embarrassed. My right arm took control, gripping the walker and pushing it forward. The left was just along for the ride. I looked down at my feet and watched them as if they were someone else's. The right leg stepped and the left felt heavy and weak. My upper body leaned forward and to the right, trying to leverage its strength. The left leg just dragged along. It was so embarrassing. I felt like all eyes were on me. My daughter Erin came in from Arizona the day after I checked in. She stood next to me as I struggled to walk. Step, slide, step, slide. She was trying to stay calm and encouraging, as if it wasn't a big deal. I turned my head and looked into her eyes. I remember the moment so vividly. The tears welled in her sockets, and mine, too. I was embarrassed for her. Her father wasn't whole anymore. My role in life is to take care of my children, and especially her at that particular moment. And there she was, taking care of me. That's just not how it's supposed to be. I cringed that she had to be there. that I needed her so badly. Erin looked scared. The stroke didn't eliminate my fatherly sense. I knew Erin too well. She disappeared from the room after each doctor visited, then returned with red eyes, still shaking a bit. I assumed it was fear. I assumed she was afraid I'd never be the same again. I definitely was afraid I would never be the same. I spoke with Erin recently, asking about those moments. I've learned that it's healing to communicate about painful times. She confirmed how gratifying it was that I was asking. She said, I was fearful and sad that I was losing you, Dad. I was afraid we were all losing our dad and that nothing would be the same. What now? How is he going to make a living? Are we going to be able to give him the help he needs? This conversation brought me right back to that moment. It was difficult to witness my daughter in such a frenzy. Erin's fear at times turned to anger. Her siblings requested updates, but she had none. The visits from the physicians were few and far between, and the residents and attendings could not give me any certainty about my future. Our anger with the lack of information built at every visit. My physical limits were set, and there wasn't a roadmap in sight. We wanted more information, but didn't know the questions to ask. We didn't know where to start. We didn't know what we didn't know, nor did we know other survivors. We wanted more information. When I finally had a serious conversation with a neurologist, my immediate burning question was, am I going to be able to go back to work? I was proud of my construction work and had spent years building my contracting business. He said, no, Ralph, not in the same way. His answer hurt, but I didn't want to hear it as truth. That wasn't the first verbal punch to my morale. As I said, the visits were few and far between from attending physicians and residents. In the hospital, the resident and attending physicians told me that I only had about 1 year to relearn how to activate my left side again. After that point, I wouldn't improve much more. They said the only way to improve at this point was move into an inpatient rehab facility. They provided no options, and the lack of information furthered our anger. It just didn't feel right. Anyone that knows me knows when people give me limits, I push on by. So I found others like me. One of the first people who encouraged me to do just that was the neurologist. His advice contradicted the residents. If you work at it, you will improve. If you put in the effort, it will happen. And there is no time limit. Yes, you will gain more in the first year, but keep it up, and your improvement will keep up with you. That was my first glimpse of hope. As with any recovery, there are wins and setbacks. I quickly realized there were more challenges ahead. As I was shuffling back into the world with the shoes I wore into the hospital, I couldn't get my left foot to keep the shoe on. With the walker lacking full use of my left arm, I kept dropping all my goods. Erin pulled my car around. She brought me up against the door. I gingerly positioned myself beside the passenger seat, gripped the right hand behind, then leaned in to sit. It took a lot of effort to lift my left leg up and swing it around into the car. Erin and I took deep breaths and continued on. She drove straight to us. She brought a backpack to help carry my goods and sneakers that couldn't slip off my foot, which I still have and probably will never get rid of. After the first day home, Aaron said, look, this can't be done alone. Kevin and I have the space and the means to help out. I think you need to move in with us. I resisted, but came around to the reason. Again, I felt ashamed that I needed her so badly. I was supposed to take care of her. When I shared this with her, she responded, but you're my dad. Inside, I thought, but I am the dad. Shortly after, she returned home to Arizona to get her home and family ready for my moving in. That left it up to me to prep my house and business for sale. I began to leverage the tools and techniques, ways to help me beyond my limits. I had more than a can-do attitude or mentality. I had a will-do mentality. This will-do has taken many blows over the years, but always seems to win out for me. It comes from within me, but is reinforced by people I choose to surround myself with. It took me over 3 weeks doing a little bit each day to start packing and setting up a yard sale. I took individual items by hand or the backpack and leaned heavily on a walker to move all my goods into the yard, one by one. Before the stroke, I could have done this in a few hours. I was proud of myself for practicing techniques and tools I found or learned in physical or occupational therapy or research to set up the whole garage. There was lots to celebrate in that process, but there was also a lot to mourn. It broke my heart selling all of my business schools, and I turned to thoughts about my career, if I could still have one. It felt like I was selling who I was, selling my identity, one item at a time. Gradually, I was fine-tuning pieces of who I was before the stroke. Gradually, I was growing into my new sense of self. I am Ralph. I have always gone above and beyond. I always find ways beyond limits. I use tricks and tools to get through daily life. Like cooking, I was quote-unquote lucky. I was the right-handed, so anything I did, like cutting vegetables, slicing meat, I used my injured left hand as an anchor to hold things steady and cut with my right. I used a stool in the kitchen, as I couldn't stand for long while prepping food. I found tricks and tools for almost every limit, but one kept nagging at me. I was lonely. Not that depressive lonely. I've always thought alone was okay. I've had a lot of periods in my life like that. I rarely felt lonely. But during that first month after the stroke, struggling with my physical limitations, my anger, depression, and exhaustion, and especially while preparing for the move, I was lonely. I felt like a burden on others and no one else could ever understand. When I finally reached Colorado Springs and moved in with my daughter's family, this feeling of loneliness came around less often. I was surrounded by family and the joy of my grandchildren. My grandson knew I was writing a cookbook and always loved my cooking, so he asked me to teach him. It felt good to share my talent with him. Here I found my first team. Aaron also helped me navigate complicated systems. I immediately had to transfer health insurance. I called the 211 helpline and spoke to someone about Medicaid, disability, and other assistance. I started finding that there are very helpful people and systems available for people in our circumstances. It's just about looking for and finding them. My daughter found PACE, Program for All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. I hated the elderly part, but it ended up finding a community there. There was no availability for 2 months. At this point, I was already 4 months without a doctor or physical therapist. You have a year to regain function, coordinate my thoughts. so I became more aggressive and forced them to get me in sooner. We are our own best advocates. Asking questions, sending reminders, and calling persistent could have made a difference in my overall recovery. My caseworker, Megan Long, quickly referred me to Arlette, who got me on her schedule within 2 weeks. Arlette was the first physical therapist who was as committed as me. Mm-hmm. She made me feel like we were in it together. At one point, I knocked her over, and we both got up. We laughed, and she made me keep going. She was fearless. I needed the push. I needed a teammate to push me past the fear with me. Arlette showed up at just the right time. I needed to break past the limits my body, mind, and others set for me. It was just in my bones. I needed people to support, encourage, and especially challenge me. I needed my team. From then on, I looked for therapists who would make me soar, and doctors who saw no limits, and friends and coworkers who believed in me. Looking back, I'm thankful for my children and many other people along the way. I'm thankful for their dedication, support, enthusiasm. And I truly believe that each person can find the team that's right for them. Aaron's family moved back to Tucson because of my son-in-law getting strap motion. I moved into my own apartment. After some loneliness, fear, and struggle on my own, I got involved in PACE in May in 2016 and began to build relationships with others there. And little by little, each person led me to another person or another opportunity. My occupational therapist, Aaron and Sonia, showed me the tools to pick up around the house, put on my socks, kitchen utensils. It was amazing. PACE provided me with a stool for cooking, a shower chair, a mattress topper, many of which I still use. I also, at that time, sought out counseling for my mental health. And now I live in Bend, Oregon. My children didn't like that I was living alone in the Springs. An opportunity for a job presented itself. It was a win-win for me. A job with another stroke warrior, and especially being with family. In particular, my son Adam's family with 3 of my 11 grandchildren. Lanae Hunter introduced me to Stroke Awareness Oregon, an organization that not only shares information and resources, but creates a community within the stroke network. Stroke warriors, caregivers, therapists, doctors, families, friends, all have an opportunity to gather, to share resources and support. I must emphasize the importance of these new teams' impact on me. SAO has opened relationships between me and other stroke warriors. Warriors. I found that to be a rally cry. I was a warrior, learning and fighting for my new normal, and they supported me. These people are indeed warriors. We share nearly everything with each other and tell other people too. And the information, results, and hence motivation becomes remarkable, as did my recovery. It took 6.5 years, but because of these people, I found Spark Rehab and Wellness, the doctors David Sack and Shannon Compton, who helped me no longer use a walker or a cane. I can now run, yes, run, on water and land treadmills. We have set our sights and goal on running a 5K this year. A speech I heard many years ago started with, "The purpose of life is not to be happy, but to have mattered." My friend Jem offered me an opportunity to do something that matters. My long, confusing, lonely, frustrating, and challenging journey has led me to this point. It's time for me to offer the stroke community what I was searching for all along: the resources, the support, the understanding, and the community. I've worked diligently along Stroke Warrior Radio because I believe everyone has a proud story and we all need each other. I want Stroke Warrior Radio to offer a central location for stories, information, and lessons learned. Jim said it best: become the search engine for stroke survivors everywhere. An internet cloud-based radio server subscription became that format. Stroke Warrior Radio will be the go-to to find what I want to give away. We didn't know what we didn't know? Well, SWR, Stroke Warrior Radio, will be the information and resource that many of us were missing and wish we would have known as new survivors and their families. So join us. If you have a story to tell or information to share, reach out. My journey has led me here far beyond the limits set for me. My journey has revealed that I am still Ralph, and I will always push past my limits. It's not only about me anymore. I find strength and purpose in supporting others which support me. My hope is that yours will too.
Thank you for devoting time and space to listen to Part 1, Ralph Cortese's story. Stick with us for Part 2, Ralph's interview on Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. On this episode of Beyond Stillness, guest Ralph Cortese, founding broadcaster and executive producer of Stroke Warrior Radio, shared his story entitled Limitless. He has pushed beyond limits his whole life and now does so throughout the recovery process. If you enjoyed this moment of pause for storytelling and reflection, please like or subscribe to Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke podcast. Again, thank you for listening. And remember, as part of the stroke community, you are more than supportive. You are inspirational. I'm your host, Molly Bucola.
If you are part of the stroke community and have a story you'd like to share on the show, please contact us. Email molly@beyondstillness.org.
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org. Another way to support is to like, share, or subscribe to our weekly show. Again, thank you for devoting time and space for this week's episode of Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke.